All right, welcome back, ladies and gents. So we have covered how to set up your slide deck, how to do our bell ringers, checkpoints, our jam boards. So we have kind of a good chunk of our initial lesson set up. And so again, backwards planning in mind, we know what we're going to be covering the first day. Hypothetically, again, if you have a directive from your campus administrator or district to do something different, follow that. This is just trying to kind of plan out to what I would like my teachers to cover on our campus. So you know what the main content is going to be covered during that 45-minute block. Again, you may have more or less time. You need to be flexible with that. So the next thing, backwards planning and moving forward, we need to have our lesson frame. So I've already pre-populated it in our next slide here. And so just kind of generic thing, again, tailored to your age group and what's appropriate for you. But again, I had in here, we will introduce ourselves and cover the expectations and different resources we will be using throughout the year. I will be able to have an understanding of the Google Apps and begin creating a Jamboard about my life. Again, note that I have on here that begin creating. I don't expect any of my students to be completely done with that in the first day. And again, we want them to be able to come back and revisit it. In the context of English language arts, we talk about our kiddos, they create a product or a first draft, and then they have to understand how to revise and edit and improve on that it shouldn't just be one and done. Well, let's model for that here, regardless of what our content area is. So we should have our lesson frame. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, Brian, why is it all the way down here at 10? Shouldn't this be something we're doing way at the beginning? Again, as we talked about earlier, we can move and shuffle around these slide decks and slides however you want in the deck itself. Again, I don't recommend to have it all chronological order because the kids know it's going to be in sequential 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way beginning to end. They're going to tune you out and just scan through it and go do something else. But you can have it placed up there. This is just my process and how it comes. If you want to do it a little bit different, more power to you. So I have our lesson frame. The next thing that we need to include in here is our norms. What are going to be your non-negotiables within the classroom? Now, this is kind of a broad discussion right here, and this is something you need to talk about within the context of your campus with your admin, your instructional coaches, your PLC members, grade level team, whole nine yards, but it should be something that's universally agreed upon at your campus and grade level. It will be different depending on the age and grade level that you're serving, obviously, because again, there's a difference on what kind of instruction we do in synchronous or asynchronous. Our pre-K through second grade is going to be asynchronous, so it's going to be a little bit different than what our non-negotiables and expectations would be for third grade on up that is doing synchronous instruction. Again, agreed upon across your campus. It's crucial for when students have multiple teachers. So it's a little bit easier when you're talking about, I'm a self-contained teacher. I have my babies all day, morning, noon, and night, because they know they're with you. It's more of a family type atmosphere. But if you're rotating or the kids are rotating and they have someone for math and they have someone else for English language arts and another person for science and social studies like we have for fifth grade, or just even two teachers, social studies and ELAR, math and science over here, it's going to be crucial that we have some common language so they know, hey, my morning teacher, she's on top of it and with it, but my afternoon teacher's relaxed and, I could care less, if the camera's on, things like that. That's a no-no. You want to make sure it's consistent. You're going to want to cover these non-negotiables extensively on day one. So this is going to be part of your introduction before really you do anything. You want to cover what they are. And again, it's going to depend on who you have in your class or your grade levels and what your campus decides on. And then you're going to want to cover moderately during the first week or two, depending on your class and who you have. So again, think about in-depth day one, August 17th, and then our second day one, September 14th, when they come back. You're going to want to spend more time on it, front end load it, because it's going to mean you're going to have less issues on the backside of class and less loss of instructional time down the road. But again, we need to revisit this all the time. We talk about PBIS definitely after vacations or extended periods. Now we've talked about kids being out of school for months on end. For some kids, an extended period of time is the 2 weeks over Christmas break, the 1 week of fall break or spring break, or even the weekend. Some of them, it's lunch break, so keep that in mind. And then we need to tie in to our discussion of bell ringer. So I would have your bell ringer for your following days coming back to what are some of the norms, can you list one of our expectations on here? And then again, briefly remind the students daily as you go through. So we'll cover it a little bit more in the next video again. Don't subscribe, and criticize and rant and rave in the comment section down below.